You step onto a sidewalk without thinking. Concrete. Steel. Glass. Another ordinary day. You check your phone. Reply to a message. Look at the time. Then you keep walking. But beneath almost every modern city lie other cities. And beneath those, more forgotten worlds. Thousands of years of people. Living. Building. Dreaming. Until almost nothing remained. Here's the strange part. Every civilization believed, at some point, that it would last forever. None of them did. So what happened? How does an empire become dust? And if they disappeared? What makes us believe we're different? Human beings don't just build houses. We build permanence. We carve names into stone. Raise monuments. Write histories. Invent calendars. Because somewhere deep inside us, we're trying to negotiate with time. Ancient Egypt built pyramids that pointed toward eternity. Mesopotamia raised cities from river mud. The Maya aligned temples with the movements of the stars. Rome paved roads across continents. Each civilization believed it had discovered the formula for permanence. And for a while, it looked like they had. Markets flourished. Children laughed in streets. Libraries filled with knowledge. Generations grew up believing this was simply how the world worked. But here's something history rarely emphasizes. Collapse almost never feels like collapse. Until it's already happened. When we imagine lost civilizations, we picture explosions, earthquakes, armies, fire. Reality is quieter. A harvest fails. Trade slows. Political trust weakens. A river changes course. The climate shifts by only a few degrees. One generation adapts. The next struggles. The one after that forgets how things once were. Scientists studying ancient pollen trapped beneath lake sediments discovered that environmental changes often unfolded over centuries. Not days. Not years. Centuries. Civilizations don't always fall. Sometimes, they slowly become someone else's ruins. And that's the frightening part. The people living through it often don't recognize the ending. Because every generation mistakes gradual change for normal life. Walk through the ruins of an ancient city today. And silence feels natural. But silence is recent. These places once echoed with conversations, arguments, music, footsteps, children chasing each other through crowded streets. Someone worried about tomorrow's harvest. Someone celebrated a wedding. Someone cried after losing a parent. Their ordinary lives felt just as permanent as ours. Then something happened. Names vanished. Languages disappeared. Roads became forests. Roofs became soil. Eventually, even memory disappeared. Archaeologists often discover entire cities that had been swallowed by jungles or deserts for centuries. Not because they were small, but because nature is patient. Trees don't hurry. Wind doesn't forget. Time doesn't negotiate. Here's something fascinating. Ancient civilizations don't only disappear physically. They disappear psychologically. Every society develops invisible assumptions. What food is normal? What power looks like? What success means? What the future should become? People rarely question these ideas. Because everyone around them believes the same thing. Rome thought its empire defined civilization. The Maya believed their cosmic order reflected divine balance. Medieval kingdoms believed their systems would endure. Each worldview felt permanent. Then history changed. The ideas that once seemed eternal became museum exhibits. Which raises an uncomfortable question. What invisible assumptions define our civilization today? And which of them will future historians quietly smile at? Imagine someone living 5,000 years from now. They uncover a shopping mall. Plastic bottles. Smartphones. A parking garage. What story would they tell? Would they understand social media? Would they know why we stared into glowing rectangles for hours every day? Or would they invent explanations? Just as we do for ancient rituals. Here's what's remarkable. Archaeology isn't really about discovering the past. It's about discovering ourselves. Every broken pot, every abandoned temple, every forgotten city, forces us to ask the same question. What traces of our own lives will survive? And more importantly, what won't? Knowing that civilizations disappear. Why build anything at all? Why create art? Raise children? Plant trees? Write books? Because permanence was never the point. Ancient builders knew storms existed. They knew droughts happened. They knew kings died. Still, they carved statues, painted walls, composed poems. Because creating meaning doesn't require eternity. It only requires today. Perhaps that's why so many ancient ruins still move us. Not because they defeated time, but because they remind us that every human being has always faced it, and chose to create anyway. There's another secret hidden inside ancient civilizations. Time isn't only destructive, it's creative. Without decay, there would be no forests growing over temples, no vines wrapping stone columns, no cities buried beneath deserts waiting to be rediscovered. Ruins are collaborations. Humans build, nature edits, centuries rewrite the story. The result isn't simply destruction, it's transformation. Every civilization becomes part of the next one. Roman roads supported medieval kingdoms. Greek philosophy shaped modern science. Ancient mathematics guides today's computers. Nothing completely disappears. It changes form, just as rivers change course, without ever truly stopping. Tonight, you'll probably turn off a light, lock your door, set an alarm, and assume your city will still be here tomorrow. It probably will. Next year too. Maybe even next century. But history whispers a quieter truth. Nothing built by human hands is permanent. Not kingdoms. Not skyscrapers. Not governments. Not civilizations. And strangely, that's what makes them beautiful. Because every monument, every street, every ordinary conversation happening around you, is already becoming history. Somewhere, thousands of years from now, someone may stand where you're standing now, wondering who lived here, wondering what mattered, wondering why we believed our world would last forever. And perhaps, the greatest lesson ancient civilizations leave behind isn't that everything ends. It's that every generation is simply borrowing its century before handing it to the next. The stones remain, the names fade, but the human story continues.